Transfarm 4.0 is the European Union's transnational project for bringing these innovative technologies closer to farms. The Transfarm 4.0 programme is organised into 3 pilot actions, and each involves 2 countries. Pilot 1, Isobus, Austria and Poland. Pilot 2, Sensors, Italy and Slovenia. Pilot 3, Big Data, Austria and Hungary. The third and last Transfarm 4.0 project is being carried out between Hungary and Austria. It deals with a topic being talked about more and more often across all industries: big data, that is to say, how to benefit from the vast amounts of information that computers collect on a massive scale.
The Big and Smart Data pilot action in the Transfarm 4.0 project aims to describe and collect and handle data collected from the vineyard, which means environmental data, plant physiological data. Why it is necessary to collect these data? The quality of the grapevine is influenced by several factors. One of the main factors is the cultivar itself. The other factor which is influencing the quality is the training system. It means the size and the shape of the older woody parts. The quality of the grapevine is also influenced by the microclimatic conditions. Microclimate means the radiation, microclimate means the humidity, the temperature, the wind speed and the wind direction. Collecting these data are extremely important to get information about the phenological stages, about the ripening, and about the spreading of the different diseases. This is why climatic data are usually collected in the vineyards. What we are doing in the pilot action is collecting different microclimatic and physiological data based on different kind of sensors. For example, this sensor is an infrared sensor collecting temperature data of the grapevine canopy. Other sensors are measuring and collecting data in different wavelengths. These data are extremely important to understand the plant physiology and the plant growing. These data are collected and included with different type of other microclimatic sensors, for example, with a soil temperature and soil wetness sensor, which give information about the soil conditions. This pilot action aims to describe a vineyard where different irrigation systems are established. So what we are doing here is collecting data to know how the irrigation affects the grapevine. All the data which is collected here is transferred to data logger. In the data logger, the data is transferred to Linz, to the Center of Mechatronics, where the colleagues are handling and sharing the data with the growers nearby the region. In this pilot action is an essential step to collaborate and communicate with the colleagues in Linz very frequently. We are collecting the data, but this is only one part of the pilot action, because the main aim is the handling of the big data and share the big data with the growers. So yes, we are usually communicate with the colleagues in Linz. We have frequent collaboration. This pilot action is established in a private vineyard, which is owned by the Mikóczy and Mikóczy family estate. The pilot action is running, as we mentioned before, in an irrigation experiment. Here we can compare different irrigation strategies with the sensors, and we split this pilot action into 2 questions. One question is what is the effect of the irrigation, and the other question, what is the difference between 2 grapevine growing regions within this wine territory. So we have 2 sets of sensors. One set of sensor is collecting data about this irrigated and irrigated vineyard, and the other set of sensors are established in another vineyard, so we can compare the environmental data. What we are doing here is collecting data from one side of the canopy, because if you see the sensors here, you can see that these sensors are mounted here, but the data collection is coming from this side. We have another set of sensors in the other side. So one aim is to compare the two sides of the canopy. So we are not just exclusively measuring the environmental effect of the irrigation, but in the same time we are collecting data about the two sides of the canopy. It's very important because in this case we have a sunny side and we have a shaded side. The sunny side is always radiated in the morning. The shaded side, we call it, it's in the shade in the morning. But as the sun is moving, this side will be the sunny side in the afternoon and the other side will be the shaded one. And caused by the different radiation conditions, we will get very, very useful information about how the grapevine canopy influenced by the different irrigations, different radiations. Based on our experience with the farmers, based on interviews and different surveys, we found that the grapevine growers are open for the precision farming technologies. They open to try new methodologies to reduce the cost of the production and to reduce the environmental impact of the growing. In the same time, we found that there are some factors which are influencing the using of precision agricultural methods. One factor is the size of the farm. We found that as the farm is larger, the owner is more open to use new technologies and in some cases pay more to get the new devices, different sensors, or for example, different services from the different companies. In the same time, the age is also a factor which influencing the using of the precision farming technologies. We found that the younger generation are more open. As the grower is a bit older, they are not using as much IT devices in the everyday life or in the vineyard. So this is why we think that the younger generation is more open to use these new kind of equipment in the growing. So in general, we think that the growers are open to use the new technologies. They understand that they can reduce the costs, they can reduce the environmental impact, and they think that it is useful. Precision agriculture is generally an expensive way of the production. Why? Because all the sensors what are applied in the precision agriculture, we can talk about drones, we can talk about sensor network, we can talk about decision support systems. It has a price, relatively high price. It's up to the quality of the equipment. According to our experience, the farmers understand that these are not cheap equipment, but they understand that this investment will have a lot of benefit. If you collect data with different kind of sensors, as we mentioned, you can reduce the environmental impact because you can collect data, for example, without non-destructive methods. You don't have to go out every time to the vineyard to get samples. The data are collected by the sensors itself. So you can reduce the time what you are spending with the data collection. If you are using, for example, soil wetness sensors, you will be able to collect data about the soil without going out to the vineyard, and you can make different cultivation decisions without your personal presence. And you don't have to use a lot of fuel, for example. You don't have to use your machines to go out to the vineyard, but you can do remote sensing and you can collect the data according to the sensor system.